Hello, my friends. Welcome to our sleeping story. The diesel engine hums a low, steady note that vibrates gently through the floorboards of the cab, a feeling of massive power held in check that resonates in your bones and settles your mind into a rhythm of pure forward motion. You are sitting high above the road in the captain's chair of your rig, a comfortable air-suspended seat that floats you over the bumps and dips of the interstate. It is deep in the middle of the night, somewhere on the vast open plains of the Midwest, where the highway stretches out like a black ribbon into the infinite darkness ahead. The rain has just started a light, steady drizzle that taps against the windshield with a soothing, random pattern. Tap, 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 splish. The wipers sweep across the glass in a slow, hypnotic arc, sweeping away the water and leaving a clean streak of vision before returning to their resting place, only to start the cycle again. Swish, clunk, swish, clunk. It is the metronome of the drive, the heartbeat of the night. You look out at the white dashed lines of the lane markers, flashing by in the headlights. Zip, 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 zip. They are mesmerizing, leading you on, pulling you forward into the night. The cab is warm and cozy, a private world of soft green dashboard lights and the smell of old leather and faint diesel and hot coffee. You reach for your stainless steel thermos and unscrew the cap, pouring a small amount of steaming black coffee into the lid. You take a sip, and it is warm and grounding, a flavor of earth and comfort that spreads through your chest. You are the king of the road, the guardian of the cargo. The radio is playing low in the background, a talk show where the voices are just a soft murmur, discussing things that don't matter, distant problems that can't touch you here in your steel fortress. You check your mirror, seeing the amber running lights of the trailer stretching out behind you, a glowing outline of your ship. You see the headlights of a car approaching from behind, growing brighter in the side mirror until it sweeps past you in the left lane, a blur of red taillights that quickly fades into the distance, leaving you alone again. You are not lonely, you are solitary. There is a difference. Solitude is a choice, a state of peace. You feel the steering wheel under your hands, a texture of the worn cover familiar and comforting to your palms. You make tiny adjustments, keeping the rig centered in the lane, guiding the beast with a gentle touch that comes from years of experience. The road curves slightly to the right, and you lean into the turn, feeling the weight of the truck shift gracefully. You pass a sleeping farmhouse, a single yard light, casting a lonely pool of white on the wet grass. You wonder who lives there, who is sleeping in those dark rooms while you drive on through the night. You send them a silent blessing, a wish for good dreams. The rain intensifies, slightly drumming harder on the roof of the cab, a cozy sound that makes you feel protected. You are moving through the weather, moving through the dark. You pass a green reflective sign for a rest area. Next rest area, 52 miles. You calculate the time in your head, watching the miles roll over on the odometer. You are making good time. You are in the flow. The engine creates a white noise that blocks out all other thoughts, all worries, all stress. There is only the road. There is only the drive. There is only the now. You watch the fuel gauge, the oil pressure, the temperature. All systems are normal. All systems are green. You are a pilot of the asphalt navigating the night. The landscape is flat and vast, hidden in the darkness, but you can feel its presence, a wide open space that allows your mind to expand. You take a deep breath of the conditioned air, smelling the faint scent of rain that manages to get in. It is fresh and clean. You relax your shoulders, dropping them down away from your ears, letting the tension drain out of your neck. You relax your jaw. You settle deeper into the seat, letting the truck carry you. You are working, but it doesn't feel like work, it feels like meditation. A meditation of motion. You see the faint glow of a town on the horizon, a dome of light that marks a cluster of humanity. You will pass it by skirt, the edges stay in your lane. You are a ghost passing in the night. The rhythm of the tires on the wet pavement is a high-pitched It sounds like the road is whispering to you, telling you secrets of the journey. You listen to the whisper. You let it soothe you. You drive on. The truck crosses a long steel bridge over a dark river. You hear the change in the sound, a hollow rumbling roar that echoes off the girders. Thrum, thrum, thrum. You look down for a split second and see the black water flowing silently below, reflecting the few lights from the bridge. It looks cold and deep. Then you are back on the solid ground, the asphalt returning, the sound softening. You climb a gentle grade, the engine pitch deepening slightly as it pulls the load uphill. You feel the torque, the strength of the machine. You crest the hill and see the road stretching out before you, a straight line of reflectors disappearing into the mist. It is beautiful in its simplicity. You check your side mirror again and see the moon breaking through the clouds, a silver sliver that casts a pale light on the wet fields. The corn stalks stand in rows like silent soldiers watching you pass. You feel a sense of connection to the land, a sense of belonging. You are part of the landscape, part of the night. You take another sip of coffee, feeling the warmth radiate through your body. You adjust the vent, directing a stream of cool air onto your face. It keeps you alert but relaxed. You switch the radio to a station playing classic country music, the steel guitars weeping softly, the lyrics talking about love and loss and long roads. It fits the mood perfectly. You hum along softly, your voice lost in the noise of the engine. You pass a sign for a way station closed. You smile, slightly glad you don't have to stop. You want to keep moving. Momentum is your friend. You drift into a state of highway hypnosis where the conscious mind takes a back seat and the subconscious takes over. You are driving by instinct, by feel. Your eyes are relaxed, gazing at the horizon, not focusing on any one thing, but taking the whole picture. The red taillights of a truck far ahead are your North Star. You follow them, keeping a safe distance, a respectful distance. You enter a patch of fog, the white mist swirling in your headlights, creating a tunnel of light. You slow down slightly, easing off the accelerator, letting the truck coast. The world shrinks down to just the hood of your truck and the few feet of road ahead. It is intimate. It is quiet. The fog dampens the sound of the engine, making it sound far away. You feel like you are floating through a cloud. Then the fog lifts as quickly as it came and the world opens up again. You see the lights of a truck stop in the distance, a bright island of neon and sodium vapor. You decide to pull in, not to stop for long, but just to stretch your legs to break the monotony. You signal, right, the clicking of the blinker, a sharp rhythmic sound. Click clack, click clack, click clack. You take the exit ramp, slowing down, shifting gears, the engine growling. As it winds down, you pull into the parking lot, the gravel crunching under your tires. You park in a row of other trucks, giants, sleeping side by side. You set the parking brake, the air hissing as it engages. PSSHHHD. You turn off the lights, but leave the engine idling, a soothing rumble that rocks the cab gently. You sit there for a moment, enjoying the stillness, the lack of motion. You open the door and climb down the steps to cool night air hitting your face. It smells of diesel and rain and damp earth. You walk towards the building, your boots crunching on the wet pavement. You walk inside the travel center, the bright lights a shock to your eyes. You smell hot dogs and coffee and floor wax. You walk the aisles looking at the chrome accessories, the tools, the snacks. You buy a bottle of water and a bag of peanuts. You walk back out to your truck, your sanctuary. You climb back up into the cab, shutting the door and sealing out the world again. You release the brake, put in gear, and pull back out onto the highway. The acceleration pushes you back into the seat, a gentle pressure. You merge into traffic, getting back up to speed. The rhythm returns. The hum returns. You are back in the groove. The night wears on the hours, slipping by unnoticed. You cross a state line, welcome to Iowa. The landscape doesn't change, just a name on the map. You drive through the sleeping fields, the sleeping towns. You are the night watchman of the highway. You feel a sense of responsibility, a sense of pride. You are keeping the world moving while it sleeps. The rain stops, the clouds breaking up, revealing a star-filled sky. You look up through the top of the windshield, seeing the Big Dipper hanging over the road. You feel small under the vastness of the universe, but it is a good feeling, a freeing feeling. You are just a speck of dust on a rock floating in space, driving a truck through the night. It puts everything in perspective. Your worries seem insignificant. Your to-do list seems unimportant. All that matters is this moment, this smile, this breath. You feel your eyelids getting heavy, a gentle weight pressing down. You are not sleepy, just relaxed, deeply relaxed. You blink slowly, clearing your eyes. You shift in your seat, finding a new position. You stretch your legs. You are comfortable. You are safe. You see the first hint of dawn in the rear view mirror, a faint lightening of the eastern sky, a deep indigo turning to purple. The sun is chasing you, catching up to you. You watch the colors change, the slow, majestic turning of the earth. The light reveals the green of the fields, the red of the barns, the silver of the silos. The world is waking up, but you've been awake the whole time. You have seen the night through. You have shepherded the cargo through the dark. You feel a sense of accomplishment. You are approaching your destination, now a warehouse on the outskirts of Des Moines. You see the skyline of the city rising up from the plains. You slow down, taking the exit ramp, entering the surface streets. The traffic is light, just a few early risers. You navigate the turns of the truck, handling the city streets with grace. You pull up to the gate of the warehouse, the guard waving you through. You back into the dock, the beeping of the reverse alarm echoing off the building. Beep, beep, beep. You hit the dock bumpers with a gentle thud. You set the brake. You kill the engine. The sudden silence is deafening, ringing in your ears. You sit there for a moment, listening to the silence. You have arrived. You have finished the journey. You gather your things, your logbook, your thermos. You climb down from the cab, your legs feeling a little wobbly on the solid ground. You walk toward the office to sign the papers. You are tired of good, honest tiredness. You look forward to a hot meal and a soft bed. You look forward to sleep. But for now, you just stand there for a second looking at your truck, looking at the road. You breathe in the morning air. You are at peace. You are at rest. The journey is over. The sleep begins. The scene shifts now to a rugged coastline in Maine where the Atlantic Ocean meets the granite cliffs in a never-ending battle of water and stone. And you are the solitary keeper, a tall white lighthouse that stands as a silent sentinel against the dark. It is deep in the small hours of the morning, a time when the world belongs to the wind and the waves and the rhythmic sweep of the great light above. You are sitting in a lantern room at the very top of the tower, surrounded by curved glass panes that are thick and strong, protecting you from the elements while offering a 360-degree view of the night. The only light in the room comes from the reflection of the beam as it rotates, a hypnotic pulse of white light that cuts through the darkness every 15 seconds. Flash dark, flash dark. It is a rhythm that has become the beat of your life, a constant reassurance that the mechanism is working, that the ships are safe, that you are doing your job. You can hear the hum of the electric motor that turns the massive Fresnel lens, a gentle whirring sound, like a large contented cat purring in the corner. Whir, whir, whir. You watch the lens turn a beautiful, intricate beehive of glass prisms and brass fittings that catches the light and magnifies it, sending it miles out to sea. It is a masterpiece of engineering, a jewel of physics and light. You stand up from your wooden chair and walk over to the glass, pressing your hand against the cool surface, feeling the vibration of the wind buffering the tower. You look down at the waves crashing against the rocks 100 feet below, churning white foam that glows faintly in the starlight. You can hear the sound of the surf, a deep, booming roar that is muffled by the thick walls of the tower, but still present a background bass note to the melody of the night. Crash, crash. You feel a sense of profound isolation here, but it is a good isolation, a clean isolation. You are separated from the noise and the haste of the mainland by miles of winding road and rocky shore. You are alone with your thoughts, alone with the light. You turn away from the window and pick up a soft polishing cloth from the table. You begin to polish the brass railing that surrounds the lens, moving your hand in slow circular motions. The brass is cool and smooth under your fingers. You rub the cloth back and forth, watching the metal gleam in the reflected light. It is a simple, repetitive task of meditation in motion. You smell the scent of the brass polish, a sharp, clean, chemical smell mixed with the salt air that seeps in through the vents. You work your way around the railing, taking your time, paying attention to every inch. There is no rush here. The night is long. The light keeps turning. You finish the railing and fold the cloth neatly, placing it back on the table. You check the oil level in the backup generator, a routine check that you have done 1,000 times. You check the logbook, running your finger down the columns of handwritten entries, noting the weather, the wind, speed, the visibility. You pick up a pen and write the current time and the conditions 0300 hours. Wind NW 15 knots. Visibility clear. Sea calm. The scratch of the pen on the paper is a loud sound in the quiet room. You close the book and sit back down in your chair, picking up a mug of herbal tea that has been keeping warm on a small heater. You take a sip and the warmth spreads through your chest, chasing away the chill of the drafty tower. You look out at the horizon, trying to spot the lights of passing ships. You see a tiny speck of light far out on the water, a tanker or a cargo ship, making its way to Portland or Boston. You watch it slowly track across the darkness, a silent traveler in the night. You wonder about the crew on board, if they are awake, watching your light, if they feel safer knowing you are here. You feel a connection to them, a bond to the sea. The wind picks up slightly, whistling around the metal roof of the lantern room, a lonely, mournful sound. Huh, huh. It sounds like the voice of the ocean calling out to the land. You feel the tower sway ever so slightly, a movement so subtle that you only feel in your inner ear. It is designed to sway, to bend with the wind rather than break. It makes you feel safe, like being in a cradle high above the world. You close your eyes for a moment, listening to the layers of sound. The whir of the motor, the crash of the waves, the whistle of the wind, the beat of your own heart. It is a symphony of solitude. You open your eyes and watch the beam swing past again, illuminating a patch of fog that has started to roll in. The light turns the fog into a wall of white, a glowing cloud that swallows the beam. You reach over and flip the switch for the foghorn. A few seconds later, the deep resonant blast sounds out, shaking the floorboards. Blare, silence, blare, silence. It is a low-frequency sound that travels for miles, a warning to stay away from the rocks. You settle into the rhythm of the horn, counting the seconds between blasts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blare. It is a slow, steady cadence that is incredibly soporific. You feel your eyelids growing heavy, the combination of the warmth of rhythm and the lateness of the hour pulling you towards sleep. But you stay awake, you are the keeper. You stand up and decide to walk down the spiral staircase to the lower levels to stretch your legs. You open the iron trapdoor on the floor and descend the metal steps your hand, sliding down the cold curved rail. Clang, clang, clang. Your footsteps echo in the hollow cylinder of the tower. You count the steps as you go down. 101, 102. You reach the service room where the tools and spare parts are kept. It smells of oil and paint and old canvas. You check the windows, making sure they are latched tight against the coming fog. You walk down further to the living quarters at the base of the tower. You enter the kitchen, which is warm and cozy, with a wood stove burning softly in the corner. You put a piece of driftwood on the fire, watching the sparks fly up the chimney. You listen to the kettle whistling softly on the stove. You make yourself a fresh cup of tea, watching the steam rise in the dim light. You walk into the small library room where shelves line the curved walls filled with books that have been read and reread by keepers for decades. You run your finger along the spines, feeling the texture of the old leather and cloth. You pull out a book of poetry, opening it to a random page. You read a few lines about the sea and the stars, the words flowing like water in your mind. You close the book and place it back on the shelf. You walk over to the window and look out at the base of the tower, where the keeper's house stands dark and quiet. You can see the garden where you grow vegetables in the summer, the soil now resting for the winter. You feel a sense of peace knowing that your world is in order. You walk back to the spiral staircase and begin to climb back up. It is a slow, steady ascent, a workout for your legs. You breathe rhythmically, matching your breath to your steps. In step, Out, step. You reach the top, a little breathless, your heart beating a little faster. You climb back into the lantern room, and the bright light greets you like an old friend. The fog has thickened, wrapping the tower in a cotton wool blanket. The world outside has disappeared completely, leaving only you and the light inside this glass bubble. You feel like you are in a spaceship floating through a white void. The foghorn continues its mournful song. Blair, Blair. You sit back down in your chair, wrapping a wool blanket around your legs. You watch the condensation forming on the glass, tiny droplets that merge and run down the pane like tears. You track one drop as it wiggles its way down, joining with others, gaining speed until it hits the sill. It is a small drama that occupies your mind completely. You feel your body relaxing, sinking deeper into the chair. Your head rests against the back of the seat. Your eyes lose their focus, the rotating light becoming a blur, a pulsing glow behind your eyelids. You are safe. You are warm. You are guarding the coast. The responsibility feels light, now a privilege rather than a burden. You let your mind drift away from the tower, drifting out over the ocean, drifting with the fog. You imagine yourself as a seagull sleeping on an updraft high above the waves. You imagine yourself as a whale swimming deep in the silent black water. You are part of the ocean, part of the night. The hours pass slowly, marked only by the turn of the lens and the sounding of a horn. The darkness begins to lift, turning to a soft gray as dawn approaches. The fog glows with a pearlescent light. You stand up and switch off the foghorn, the sudden silence ringing in your ears. You switch off the rotation of the lens, the whirring motor winding down to a stop. The light stands still. You watch the sun rise over the ocean, a pale disk trying to burn through the mist. The seagulls begin to cry, circling the tower, waking up the world. Your shift is over. You have brought the ship through the night. You feel a heavy, warm tiredness settling into your bones. You walk down the stairs one last time, your steps slow and heavy. You walk into the keeper's house, into your bedroom. You pull the heavy curtains shut, blocking out the morning light. You climb into your bed, the sheets cool and crisp. You pull the quilt up to your chin. You close your eyes and the image of the rotating light is still there, a phantom pulse in the darkness. Flash dark, flash dark. It lulls you to sleep. You drift away into a deep, dreamless slumber, accompanied by the sound of the waves crashing on the rocks below. Crash. You are asleep. The scene changes now to the hushed interior of a massive natural history museum in the heart of a sleeping city, where the heavy brass doors have been locked tight and the crowds have gone home, leaving you as the sole inhabitant of these echoing halls. You are the Night Watchman, dressed in a crisp uniform that feels comfortable and familiar, your keys jingling softly at your belt, a reassuring weight that reminds you of your duty. It is midnight, and the museum is a cathedral of silence, a vast space filled with shadows and the stillness of millions of years. You stand in the center of the grand rotunda, a cavernous room with a domed ceiling that rises high above your head, lost in the darkness. The floor is polished marble, cool and smooth under your black shoes, reflecting the faint glow of the security lights like a dark frozen lake. You click on your heavy flashlight, the beam cutting through the gloom, a solid bar of white light that dances across the stone walls. You begin your rounds, walking slowly, your footsteps echoing with a rhythmic click, clack, click, clack. It is a slow, deliberate pace, a walk that goes nowhere and everywhere. You enter the hall of ancient life, where the skeletons of dinosaurs loom out of the dark. You sweep your light over the massive femur of a brontosaurus, a bone as big as a tree trunk turned to stone by time. You trace the long curve of its spine, the vertebrae interlocked like the pieces of a giant puzzle. You look up at the skull of a T-Rex, its jaws open and a silent roar, its teeth casting long, jagged shadows on the wall. It is not scary, it is peaceful. These giants have been sleeping for eons, and they are sleeping still, watching over the night. You feel a sense of perspective standing among these ancient bones, a feeling that time is vast and slow, and your shift is just a tiny tick on the cosmic clock. You move on to Hall of Gems and Minerals, entering a room that feels like a treasure chest. The glass cases line the walls, filled with crystals and stones from deep within the earth. You shine your light into a case of amethyst, the purple crystals sparkling and winking at you, catching the beam and throwing it back in 1,000 tiny fractures of light. You look at a meteorite, a heavy lump of iron and nickel that fell from the sky billions of years ago. It sits silent and cold, a visitor from the stars. You feel the stillness of stones, a heavy, grounded silence that seeps into your bones. You check the door to the maintenance closet, trying to handle. Locked. You check the fire exit. Locked. You are methodical, you are thorough. You walk to the Hall of North American Mammals, a long corridor filled with dioramas that are frozen moments in time. You stop in front of the bison display, pressing your face close to the glass. You see the painted backdrop of the prairie stretching out to a painted horizon. You see the taxidermied bison standing in the tall grass, therefore looking soft and dusty. They are waiting for a wind that never blows, waiting for a sun that never sets. You imagine yourself stepping into the glass, stepping onto the painted grass, feeling the phantom breeze. It is a quiet world, a still world. You move to the next window where a family of wolves stands in the snow. The snow looks cold and crisp, sparkling under the museum lights. You can almost hear the silence of the winter forest, the crunch of snow under paw. You feel a kinship with the wolves, silent hunters in the night. You continue your walk, entering the Ocean Life Hall. The air feels cooler here, darker. You look up and see the life-size model of a blue whale suspended from the ceiling, hanging weightless in the air. It is massive, a leviathan of the deep, swimming through the invisible currents of the room. You shine your light on its belly, revealing the pale blue paint to subtle ridges. You feel like you are underwater, walking on the bottom of the sea. The room is painted a deep indigo, creating a submarine atmosphere. You hear the hum of the HVAC system, a low, steady drone that sounds like the ocean breathing. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It is a comforting sound of white noise that blankets the room. You sit down on a wooden bench beneath the whale, resting your legs for a moment. You turn off your flashlight, letting the darkness settle around you. You are not afraid of the dark, you are a part of it. You let your eyes adjust, seeing the shapes of the exhibits emerging from the gloom. You see the silhouette of a giant squid fighting a sperm whale frozen in an eternal struggle. You see the glass cases of coral reefs glowing faintly. You close your eyes and listen to the building. You hear the settling of the foundation, the creak of thermal expansion, the distant rumble of a subway train passing deep underground. These are the sounds of the museum sleeping. You breathe in the air which smells of old dust and floor wax and history. It is a dry, scaldly smell, a smell of preservation. You feel perfectly safe here, perfectly alone. You are the custodian of the past, keeping watch over memories of the world. You stand up and continue your round, your joints popping softly in the quiet. You walk up the grand staircase, your hand, sliding along the cold brass railing. You reach the second floor where the Hall of African Peoples is located. You walk past masks and statues, past woven baskets and spears. You feel the presence of the artisans who made them, the hands that wove the grass and carved the wood. You are walking through a library of human culture. You check the windows, looking out at the city street below. You see a taxi driving by, its yellow paint bright under the streetlights, the tires hissing on the pavement. You see a lone pedestrian walking a dog huddled against the cold. You feel a sense of separation, a feeling of being in a fortress. You are inside, looking out, protected by thick stone walls and heavy glass. You turn away from the window and head toward the library wing. You unlock the door with a heavy click of your keys. You enter the reading room, a vast space filled with rows of wooden tables and green bankers' lamps that are currently dark. The walls are lined with books, floor to ceiling, thousands of volumes bound in leather and cloth. You smell the paper, the ink, the glue. It is an intoxicating smell for a lover of quiet. You walk down the aisles, running your fingers lightly over the spines of the books. You are greeting them, acknowledging their presence. You sit down in a leather chair at the end of a long table. The chair is old and creaky, molding to your body. You sit in the dark, surrounded by the knowledge of the centuries. You feel a sense of calm, a sense of order. Everything is in its place. Everything is accounted for. You check your watch. It is 3 a.m., the witching hour. But there are no witches here, only dust and silence. You decide to head down to the basement, to the archives. You take the service elevator, the doors closing with a rattle. The car descends slowly, vibrating gently. You reach the basement, and the doors open onto a long concrete corridor lit by fluorescent tubes that hum and flicker. Buzz, flick, buzz. You walk down the hall, checking the temperature gauges on the storage rooms. You check the humidity monitors, ensuring that the delicate artifacts are safe. You are the doctor checking the vitals of the patient. You reach the end of the hall and turn back, retracing your steps. You take the stairs up this time, climbing flight after flight, getting your blood moving. You emerge back on the main floor, back in the grand rotunda. You have completed your circuit. You have secured the perimeter. You walk over to the security desk and sit down in the ergonomic chair. You look at the bank of monitors showing grainy black and white views of the empty halls. You see the dinosaur room static and still. You see the gem room sparkling in monochrome. You see the exterior doors locked and secure. You lean back in the chair, interlacing your fingers behind your head. You watch the dust motes dancing in the light of the monitors. They swirl and float caught in invisible currents of air. You watch one particular speck, tracking its slow progress as it falls. It takes a long time to reach the desk. You're operating on museum time, now geological time. The rush of the world has slowed down to a crawl. You take a thermos from your bag and pour a cup of herbal tea. You blow on the steam, watching it curl up into the air. You take a sip, tasting the peppermint and chamomile. It warms your throat. You are content. You are exactly where you need to be. You close your eyes for just a second, listening to the silence. It is a heavy silence, a quality of air that only exists in big stone buildings at night. You feel the weight of the marble around you, the solidity of the columns. You are safe. You are grounded. The night wears on the hours, slipping by like sand in an hourglass. The sky outside the high windows begins to turn a deep navy blue, then a lighter purple. The sun is coming to wake up the dinosaurs. You stand up and do one last quick check, walking to the front doors. You look out at the city, waking up. You see the street sweepers cleaning the gutters. You see the delivery trucks double parked. The day is starting, but your day is ending. You feel a pleasant heaviness in your limbs, a desire for sleep. You wait for the relief guard to arrive. You hear the key in the lock at 6 a.m. sharp. The door opens and the day guard walks in, bringing a gust of fresh morning air and the smell of the street. You nod to him, a silent exchange of custody. "All quiet," he asks. "All quiet," you reply. You hand over the keys, the ring warm from your pocket. You go to the locker room and change out of your uniform, putting on your street clothes, which feel soft and loose. You clock out the machine, making a satisfying chunk sound. You walk out the heavy brass doors and down the wide stone steps. The morning sun hits your face bright and cold. You walk to the bus stop, joining the early commuters. But you are going against the flow. They are going to work. You're going to rest. You get on the bus and find a seat in the back. The motion of the bus is rocking and rhythmic. Stop, go, stop, go. You close your eyes, letting the city's sounds wash over you. You are a passenger now. You are done watching. You are ready to sleep. You get off at your stop and walk the short block to your apartment building. You climb the stairs, unlocking your door. Your apartment is quiet, the shades drawn tight. You walk into your bedroom and sit on the edge of the bed, taking off your shoes. You lie down, pulling the cool sheet up over your shoulders. You let your head sink into the pillow. You close your eyes and you are back in the museum, walking the silent halls. You see the whales swimming in the dark. You see the crystals glowing. You see the bison waiting in the grass. The images fade into dreams. You are safe. You are asleep. The scene dissolves now to the serene and immaculate interior of a Japanese Zen garden at twilight, where the boundaries between nature and artifice blur into a singular expression of peace. You are sitting on the wooden veranda of a traditional tea house, your legs folded comfortably beneath you on a tatami mat that smells of dried rush and straw scent that is earthy and grounding. The sliding paper doors behind you are open, connecting the inner sanctuary of the house with the outer sanctuary of the garden. The air is cool and still holding the faint moisture of a recent rain shower that has darkened the stones and made the moss glow with a vibrant verdant green. You are looking out over a sea of raked white gravel, a dry landscape where the waves are made of stone and the islands are rugged rocks placed with deliberate intent. The gravel has been raked into perfect concentric circles around the larger rocks, ripples spreading out from a center of stillness frozen in time. You trace the lines with your eyes, following the curves round and round, feeling your mind settle into a repetitive pattern. Swirl, swirl, swirl. It is a visual mantra, a geometry of calm. You see a single maple tree standing at the edge of the gravel, its leaves turning a brilliant crimson in the fading light. A gentle breeze rustles the branches, sending a few leaves drifting down to land softly on the white stones. Flutter, drift, rest. They look like splashes of red paint on a white canvas, a moment of wabi-sabi, imperfect and transient and beautiful. You pick up a small ceramic cup of green tea from the low table in front of you. The cup is rough and textured in your hand, warm to the touch. You bring it to your lips and inhale the steam which smells of grassy fields and spring rain. You take a sip, the bittersweet flavor washing over your tongue, warming your throat. You set the cup down with a soft clink, the sound swallowed instantly by the quiet garden. You are wearing a loose cotton yukata robe that feels light and airy against your skin, allowing you to breathe freely. You adjust your posture, straightening your spine, relaxing your shoulders, letting your hands rest loosely in your lap. You are practicing zazen sitting meditation, but without the strict discipline, just the pure act of sitting, just being. You listen to the sound of water trickling from a bamboo pipe into a stone basin. Drip, 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 splash. The basin fills slowly until it overflows, the water spilling over the edge to darken the stones below. It is a metronome of nature, measuring out the moments in drops of water. You watch a small bird, a Japanese white-eye with olive green feathers, flitting from branch to branch in a pine tree. It moves quickly, full of energy, but silent. It pauses to look at you, tilting its head, then flies away, disappearing into the twilight. You are alone again. The light is fading fast, now the white gravel turning a soft blue-gray in the dusk. The shadows of the rocks stretch out across the sand, long and dark. You feel the temperature dropping, a refreshing coolness that settles on your skin. You pull the collar of your robe closer, enjoying the contrast between the cool air and your warm body. You see a stone lantern standing near the path, its window dark and empty. It does not need a light. The garden is lit by the remaining glow of the day and the rising moon. You look up and see the moon peeking over the roof of the temple wall, a pale sliver of white against the deepening blue of the sky. It looks delicate and sharp. You feel a sense of timelessness here. This garden could be 100 years old or a day old. It exists outside of the rush of the modern world. It is a pocket of eternity. You close your eyes and focus on the sounds around you. The water, the wind and the pine needles. The distant sound of a temple bell tolling the hour. Gong, gong, gong. The sound is deep and resonant, vibrating in the air long after the strike. It resonates in your chest, clearing away the clutter of your thoughts. You breathe in slowly, counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You hold the breath for a moment. You breathe out slowly, counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You repeat this cycle, letting your breath become a slow, steady tide. You visualize the tension leaving your body with every exhale, flowing out of you like gray smoke dissolving into the air. You visualize peace entering your body with every inhale, a golden light that fills you up. You feel lighter. You feel emptier. You feel fuller. You open your eyes again. The garden is now bathed in moonlight. The white gravel shines like snow. The rocks look like dark islands in the silver sea. It is a monochrome world, black and white and gray. You feel a sense of clarity, a stripping away of the unnecessary. You stand up slowly, your movement fluid and controlled. You step off the veranda into your wooden sandals, clack clack. You walk down the stone path that winds through the moss garden. The moss is soft and velvety, looking like a miniature forest. You walk slowly, mindfully, feeling the texture of the stones through your sandals. You reach a small bridge that crosses a dry stream bed. You stop in the middle of the bridge, looking down at the river of stones. You imagine water flowing there, rushing over the rocks. You feel the flow in your mind. You continue walking, reaching the bamboo grove at the edge of the garden. The tall stalks rise up straight and true, swaying gently in the night breeze. Click, clack, rustle. The sound of the bamboo knocking together is hollow and musical. You touch a stalk, feeling the smooth, cool surface, the segmented ridges. You feel grounded, connected to the earth. You turn and walk back towards the tea house, the warm light of a paper lantern now glowing from within. It looks inviting, a beacon of warmth. You step back onto the veranda, slipping off your sandals. You enter the room, sliding the paper door shut behind you, sealing out the night. The room is simple and sparse. A single scroll hangs in the alcove, painted with a single brushstroke of a mountain. A single flower sits in a vase, a solitary bloom. You kneel on the tatami mat, unrolling your futon bed. The cotton mattress is thick and inviting. You lay out the duvet, the fabric crisp and white. You change out of your robe into soft sleeping clothes. You turn off the lamp, the room plunging into darkness, save for the moonlight filtering through the paper screens. You lie down on the futon, feeling the support of the floor beneath you, firm but yielding. You pull the duvet up to your chin. You smell the straw of the tatami, the faint incense from the alcove. You close your eyes. You are back in the garden in your mind. You see the white gravel. You see the dark rocks. You hear the water dripping. Drip, drip, splash. The rhythm lulls you. The peace holds you. You drift away from the garden, drift away from the world. You are floating on a cloud of white gravel. You are floating on a river of silence. You are empty. You are heavy. You are asleep. The bell tolls one last time in the distance. Gong. It is the sound of the end. The sound of sleep. You are gone. The journey comes to its final resting place in a secluded cabin deep in the snowy woods where the world is hushed by a thick blanket of white, and the only reality is the warmth and the quiet that surrounds you. You're lying in a massive four-poster bed made of rough-hewn logs, sturdy and solid like the trees outside. The mattress is deep and soft, a cloud of down and memory foam that conforms to every curve of your body, supporting you completely. You are covered by layers of heavy quilts and flannel sheets that are warm and soft against your skin, creating a cozy cocoon that traps your body heat and makes you feel safe and protected. The room is dark, lit only by the dying embers of fire in the stone fireplace across the room. The logs are burned down to glowing red coals that pulse gently with heat, casting a faint orange light that flickers on the ceiling. You watch the shadows dance soft and slow shapes that morph and change without meaning. It is a visual lullaby. You can hear the wind outside howling softly around the corners of the cabin, a lonely sound that emphasizes your safety inside. Huh, huh. You hear the faint tick-tock of an old grandfather clock in the hallway, a steady rhythmic heartbeat that measures out the silence. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It is a slow, reassuring sound that tells you there is nowhere to go, nothing to do. Time is passing, but it doesn't matter. You are outside of time. You feel a heavy, delicious weight pressing down on your limbs of gravity that pulls you deeper into the mattress. Your legs feel like lead, heavy and relaxed, sinking into the softness. Your arms are limp at your sides, your fingers uncurled and still. Your head rests on a fluffy pillow, your neck muscles completely loose. You take a deep, slow breath, inhaling the scent of the room. It smells of wood smoke and pine, and old wool and lavender. It is a clean, comforting smell, a smell of home. You exhale slowly, letting go of the last remaining tension in your body. You imagine the tension flowing out of your fingertips and toes dissolving into the air. You are melting. You are softening. You are drifting. You let your mind wander back through the journeys you have taken tonight. You feel the gentle vibration of the truck on the highway, the hum of the tires on the wet pavement. You see the white lines flashing by, zip, zip, zip. You feel the sway of the lighthouse tower. In the wind, the beams sweeping across the dark ocean. Flash dark, flash dark. You feel the cool marble floor of the museum. Under your feet, the silence of the ancient bones. Click, clack, click, clack. You feel the peace of the Zen garden, the concentric circles of the rake gravel. Swirl, swirl, swirl. All these images blend together, swirling in a slow vortex of relaxation. They are memories now soft and distant. They can't touch you. You are here. You are safe. You are warm. You focus on the sound of your own breathing. In and out. In and out. It is the sound of the ocean, the sound of the wind, the sound of life. You let your breath become slower and deeper. You pause at the bottom of each exhale, resting in the stillness before the next breath. It is a moment of pure peace. You feel your eyelids getting heavier and heavier. They're sealed shut, glued down by sleep. You couldn't open them if you wanted to, and you don't want to. You want to stay here in the dark. You want to stay here in the warmth. The fire pops softly, a log settling into the ash. It is a gentle sound of punctuation mark in the silence. You feel a wave of warmth wash over you, starting at your head and moving down to your toes. It is a wave of sleep. It pulls you down deeper and deeper. You are sinking into the bed, sinking into the floor, sinking into the earth. You are grounded. You are held. You are loved. The wind outside dies down, leaving only the silence of the snow. A heavy, profound silence that covers the world. You are part of that silence. Your mind is blank white and still like the snow. There are no thoughts. There are no worries. There is only this moment, this feeling, this sleep. You drift past the edge of wakefulness, crossing the border into the land of dreams. You are floating. You are flying. You are free. The clock ticks on tick-tock, tick-tock. The fire glows dim. The world turns. And you sleep deeply. You sleep peacefully. You sleep good night.